Hey everybody, this is the Lego Duplo Big Construction Site set. Now, I'm not just saying that because it's a construction site set that's big, it's the actual name of the set itself. It comes with everything that you see here, the parts that are needed to make everything that you see here. And of course you can reconfigure some things by taking things apart and putting them together in different ways. But first, let's just look at the instruction way of building all this stuff. The bulldozer stands out as a pretty major piece of equipment, and it has a large blade on the front that you can actually angle. So you can bring this up, and if you want to, you can actually use it to carry stuff around. You can put a block on top of that, and that block represents dirt or maybe some asphalt, tarmac that's been kind of cut up. There is just a little bit of gap under the base of this so it doesn't scrape on the ground. You notice that the tracks don't move. This is one of those that uses wheels underneath. They're kind of cheater wheels, but that's an interesting thing because this is a separate little car chassis. So if you want to, you can use this as its own thing or as its base for its own thing and still use the bulldozer. The only thing with the bulldozer now is that now it's right on the ground and it kind of scrapes. It can slide around if you're on a hard surface. You can pick it up, of course, but this just allows it to roll around a lot easier, and it just attaches very nicely. Of course, you've got a cab for your operator to sit in there, and I'll show you the figures up close a little bit later on. There's this big dump truck, and this actually doesn't work quite the way that I expected it to, because this isn't really a trailer section back here. It doesn't rotate, it doesn't articulate in the center. It all just stays together, the whole thing like this. This is a nice printed brick right here, which gives you kind of a control panel, so you can just imagine pushing on the buttons or using the joystick here to control the mechanism on the back so you can actually dump everything out. And it does come with a couple of extra bricks there that just goes all the way up and all the way down. If you want to, you can make this into a trailer system, or trailer unit, by just, rather than connecting that back section to this hole, you can connect it to this hole. When you do that, that leaves enough space now for this to be able to rotate around. I actually like that a lot better. And I think that you can just do that all the time. Plus it leaves just a little bit of room where you can add some things onto the truck cab section. This has the Lego logo on the front of it. It's pretty tall. The person sits up on top of a brick inside of there so that he's a little bit higher up so he gets a good view. And this is another figure that's included with the set. I'll show you more closely a little later on. This crane is another of the bigger things in the set, and right now it has a claw bucket on it. And this is made of an excavator bucket and a specialized piece, and the two just connect together, and you can open and close them. The entire arm moves up and down, and this is nice. It's ratcheted, see, it stops like that rather than being smooth, but it'll hold in place, but it's not too hard, so you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. See, just a little bit of just touching it will allow you to move it around. That's really good, and you can rotate the whole thing around its base 360 degrees all the way, so it gets a good reach. It has a nice wide platform at the base here. It has some colors used on the inside just to kind of change things up a little bit. And if you want to use this as just a regular crane with a hook at the end, it already has a hook on it. You just have to remove the claw bucket. Now these are just separate pieces you can just leave on the ground for use later, or you can use this with another set, with another excavator or something to change out the bucket size, but this is just a regular hook here now. Also, of course, has the cab, and there's another figure. This here represents a building that is either being constructed or taken apart. You can see this as a construction site, or you can see it as a demolition site if you want to just break this thing down. This uses some textured bricks that look like actual bricks, in real life. And one of the extra pieces that was in the dump truck that I dumped out is another of those. And it's interesting because this is kind of textured on the front, not just with the grooves, but it's a little bit kind of matte. It's not so shiny on the face of it, and on the back it's actually hollow. So compared to a regular brick, this is the other one that was in the dump truck, this is solid on both sides. I expected this to be just smooth on one side, but it's not, it's hollow. However, given that these two were included with the dump truck and this was with the bulldozer, just put that on as a roof, and that would complete this kind of make pretend building. It's in a very small scale, but it gets the general idea across, and ultimately It's just some parts that you can use for building with. I think it looks better from this side with the window pieces closer to the front. It just looks more modern and real. Okay, here are the 3 people included in the set. They have different headgear and different faces, all 3. 2 of them share the exact same torso piece, or the same shirt and jacket, but otherwise they change things up a little bit with the colors, and I especially appreciate the different faces on them. This is my favorite hat piece right here, just because it looks the most interesting to me. It's got the ear protection and or radio walkie-talkie unit that's built into it, so you can be communicating with other folks on the job site, although they don't include like a walkie-talkie for one of the other people to just hold on to. I wish that there was a separate piece for that. However, they did include all these separate pieces, accessories that can be used with them. This wheelbarrow is very nice, and I put in it this brick that is printed, and it shows somebody's lunch. So somebody can pack their lunch and bring that out at break time. This is a jackhammer here, which also to me kind of looks like a trophy that could be awarded to somebody for working really hard. And then this is just a shovel, and they also give you a couple of traffic cones to help kind of mark off the area where you're working so that people are safe and don't come in if they're not authorized. Of course, this is a Lego Duplo set, so this is something that you can do. You can take everything apart, and I'm going to take everything apart and see what else I can make with these pieces. Okay, I'm done. First of all, the bulldozer is what I did the least to. I took one of the pieces from the crane, one of its bucket pieces, put it back here, and I'm using that now as a ripper blade. So as it goes over terrain, it can rip it up. I also took the wheels out from underneath of it, and with that and some other parts, I was able to make an entirely new truck. And this is not adding any other parts to the set, so I've got a truck that rides on its own with a person in it, with a cab. It's not able to dump now, but you can dump it just by doing like that. So there's that. And then with the truck part, I kind of combined that with some of the crane stuff and some of the extra parts. So the truck now has a sleeper cab in the back of it that you can imagine is where, you know, folks would be able to take a rest on a long haul. Or you could see that as just being a large refrigerator, which you can deploy at the work site, and that's where you get your food from. So even on a hot day, your food would stay nice and chilly and fresh. Got some storage space on the back of the bed here, and combined together some of the crane parts here, so this is still able to rotate around. He's got the control panel from what was the dump truck. That's now uses the control panel for the crane, but it's not really a crane anymore, is it? Nope. Now it is purely an excavator. So that's how you use this as an excavator. You just scoop things up. It doesn't work all that great, but for just playing, as long as you got your hands on it, it'll work fine. It'll pick stuff up. And then lastly, as many parts as I could, I put together into just making some buildings, you know, just to see what I could come up with. And I made 2 buildings. So one of them has a little bit of overlap in the front and then a little bit of a spike at the top of it. And the other one looks better from this side. Maybe I should do like that or something. Just made it as tall as I could with the remaining pieces. And that's the joy of Lego and Duplo. You can just build stuff and use your imagination. Ultimately, a set just needs to come with a really good selection of parts that kids can use to do whatever they want with. And I think this does. I like the different vehicle bases that can really be used to do different things. And there's even more that you can switch around than I even showed. But yeah, overall it feels like a pretty fun set that you can do a lot with. And each of the assemblies built according to the instructions is good in and of itself. So that's it for my look at this set. I like it very much, and I would like to invite you to share what you think about it by leaving a little comment down below. Either way, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again soon.